I'd like to welcome everyone to today's edition of the Software Spotlight. And joining us from Montreal, Canada, we have Philippe Trounev. He's the founder and CEO of Docsie. And their solution is actually an enterprise knowledge-based platform where you can build and deploy multiple self-serve knowledge bases to educate your users, employees, and customers. So, welcome to the spotlight.
Hi, Mike. Thank you for having me.
Welcome aboard. So, a lot of our listeners have actually tuned in today and have been following the solution. Obviously, it's been a pretty quick growth trajectory, and it looks like you have a lot of exciting features that we'd like to help our listeners understand at a deeper level. So what I was hoping, if you could give us a little bit of background on Doxy, what it's all about, when it was founded, and what inspired you to bring this solution to market.
So, Docsie started in basically, we came up with an idea with the Web Summit in 2017. Me and my co-founder were building this billing system, and we were looking for a documentation system to document our billing system. So we went around and we didn't find anything that was really good or helpful to document to create like Stripe like documentation for our solution. So we built our own prototype, like closer to 2019. We launched it for free. We got some initial traction, and eventually kind of people came in and said, hey, like, can we pay you? And we said, well, it's a free tool, like just use it for free, because we were working on other tool. But people kept saying, hey, can we pay you? Can we like use it? Is there like any commercial things that we can do with it? And eventually we started to develop it further. Nowadays, the Docsie service is over 15,000 users in over 68 countries. Over 5,000 businesses are using us. Basically, the platform is well known, one of the top rated G2 documentation platforms. And really, what we help businesses do is we help businesses combine internal and external knowledge together. And we bring in a generative AI to help them generate new content, to help them translate their content, to help them basically publish knowledge bases. So, at the basic level, we're talking about startups who need to create knowledge bases for their product. At enterprise level, we're talking about multi-knowledge based deployments of like this complex enterprise logic that basically are needed for more mature clients that are servicing multiple geographies, sectors, clients, groups, and partners, all of which need a unique knowledge base to be presented to them.
Makes a lot of sense. So, and it sounds like the solution actually was something that you had originally developed for internal use, and it actually got to the point where it was something that made sense to bring to market, or had it
Yeah,
initially? Yeah.
that's exactly. It was just a simple internal tool that we wanted to publish, and basically it got some traction. And we thought, well, might as well just kind of build this out. Nowadays, this is becoming a very big industry. We always have people reaching out to us and saying, "Hey, can I buy your can I buy your whole company out because it's growing really fast, so we want to get in."
Yeah.
And we're just sitting there and we're kind of reaping the rewards of building this early and building this product at this early stage when nobody was looking into this.
No, very exciting. And at the end of the day, some of the most most usable products actually come out of the inspiration of really not being able to find a solution to a problem that you had internally. And it seems like there are quite a few enterprise companies adopting the solution as well. And clearly, the market speaks for itself. The feedback online from users seems to be very favorable. So that's exciting. Um, I guess the other question is, when you look at where the product is at now versus where you started, how have you seen the evolution in terms of the problem that you were trying to solve originally versus what the solution solves for problems today?
Well, You see, when we started, this whole thing was like documentation for developers. Our like initial target market for Docsie were developers. Eventually, we got a bunch of developers try the platform, and but the commercial application we got more from product managers, and now we are talking to more senior people about more like company wide applications of this tool, and how can we like accelerate the way big enterprises deliver knowledge. So we really went from this SMB developer focused platform into this enterprise great platform that can be used to basically deliver documentation at scale.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And as far as the solution itself, for a company that had never heard of the solution before, had never read about the product on any of the major sites or anything like that, and they were really just a first time look from the outside in. How would you describe it to an SMB customer versus an enterprise customer?
So for an SMB customer, it's a twofold value proposition. It's a platform where you can maintain your SOPs, employee guides, handbooks, so all the internal docs, and share them with your employees. To
Sure.
basically have internal processes, you have to document them somewhere. You need a way to version them. You need a way to update them, release them, so you stay compliant, etc. As well as you need a way to publish a knowledge base for your product that you're building and to educate your users. So we combine the best of both, and we also provide you with a bunch of tools like turning your docs into chatbots, as well as publishing in-app help interfaces to educate your users as they're browsing your application. So it's like a combined internal and external knowledge for your product and for your company.
So it's really growing the knowledge as you're interacting with the tool, it sounds like, in
Well, yeah,
addition.
like the one of your biggest assets when it comes to a company is your knowledge, right? So it's internal or external, and this process that can be that you need to basically deliver your solution, right, to your customers and to make profit. You need to have processes to train your employees, educate them about how your solution works, as well as processes to educate your customers. And you need both, and you need them as early as possible, because your documentation is how your customers know about your product and use your product.
Makes a lot of sense. Now, as far as the multilingual component of it, can you talk a little more about that? Because I know a lot of enterprise clients have different regions where they may need to get the content out, where they may not have content teams and the like.
Well, yeah, at Doxy, we were looking into translations very early. So we have automated translations, and we have things like ghost translations, which means we can automatically translate your content as you work on it. So your content is always has up-to-date translation. And we use a number of different AI models and mixtures of AI models to help with these translation efforts.
Very nice, very nice. And that is so important in the global marketplace today, having, documentation that's accessible in not only multiple formats but multiple languages. So for the solution itself, a lot of customers may be looking at different platforms or may already have an existing platform. How how would you say the solution, compares in the marketplace? And if you were to highlight a couple of standout features that would really help a listener decide between Doxy and a different platform they may have or may be thinking of, what would be those standout features that really separate the product apart?
Well, the AI content generation, ability to turn your docs again into chatbots, ability to publish multiple versions of your knowledge portal to multiple customers as standalone entities that can be managed separately, creation of better user adoption experiences using your existing knowledge, so like website widgets that you can embed into your tool to kind of with build and no-code product tools that our platform also supports. So we are giving you a bunch of tools to basically and a bunch of tools to accelerate the creation and audit the quality of your content as well. So we have AI content audits that basically look at how the content that you've written is done, and we provide you with suggestions on how to improve it. You know, we give you a process and workflow to follow through our project management component. So really it's an end-to-end documentation, like product documentation lifecycle management platform, as opposed to, let's say, you have something in Markdown on GitHub, which is cool, and your developers are sending pull requests there. But when your product needs to update it, they need to talk to a developer, right? Or they need to figure out Git. And ultimately, you can have free tools that also do this, but then you have to dedicate development people and development resources to documenting your product, which is not something that you may want to do. And at the same time, Doxy provides you, like I said, with internal and external ways to have like secure documentation portals and non-secure documentation portals that you share with your customers and that you share with your employees. So we kind of help you improve the way that you manage, handle, and maintain your docs, and we make it faster for you with the use of AI.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, to that point where AI is becoming more of a reality in everyone's day-to-day life, having documentation that is both up to date, relevant, and the same communication that you're providing both internally and externally to your stakeholders, whether it's employees or customers, that everything is provided in that same language, so you're communicating correctly. And obviously, you're experts at that end of the space. And I think having the capacity to guide customers through setting up their knowledge base in the best fashion is obviously a key component to what you're doing. Now, as far as collaboration features, can you talk a little bit about collaboration and how that works in terms of documents and people working on documents and all of that?
Doctor offers you a rich knowledge portal, like a project management experience that basically lets you define your workflows to ensure your delivery. So you can define individual tasks within the product or connect it to your existing ALM like Jira, and basically focus on creating like a workflow, because a lot of these updates for bigger teams revolve around workflows and having multiple teams and multiple people working together and collaborating on product documentation together. So we have a very intricate workflow system that lets you push out those updates much faster, as well as all the other standard collaboration tools that people use, like Notes, etc.
Sure. And as far as, the customer facing portion of Doxy, um, what are the individual components there? You mentioned knowledge bases and wikis and things like that. How?
So you have a web knowledge base, which works well in web and mobile. That is also embeddable, which means you can embed this knowledge base into your software, or you can put it on your intranet. You also have a chatbot that the knowledge base can turn to, where you can have a chat with your knowledge base and discuss and find out different things related to your product. So basically, like having like a chat GPT, but for your knowledge base, right? And finally, there is a digital adoption widget which can be embedded within your app. And it produces this, like when you are browsing, like you're using Gmail or any other app, they have like that question mark that you press that shows like a bunch of things related to like help and training, and like they like provide you like with like a little resources to help you understand your tool better, and it's all embedded within the app. So that's the in-app help interface portion. So it combines all three.
Okay, great. So obviously it's web enabled, but it's also app enabled as well for
Mhm.
companies that have both an app or a website.
That's correct. Yes.
Very good. And then as far as customers that are getting up and running for the platform, are there different limitations or what is the integration path in terms of getting the product live on a website? Are there um, standardized tools, or is it available to any
Yeah, I
type of
mean,
website, or?
I mean, there
So
is a free trial that you can use to basically get up and running with Doxy. If you choose to kind of sign up for any of our like premium tiers, we can help you import your existing documentation into Doxy. There's also like ways to import it and integrate it into your application. And basically, the idea here is to make it as easy for you as possible for you to get onboarded with the product and start using it and extract value from it.
got it, got it. And as far as integrations, are there some that you see that are the most popular that you see clients using?
Yeah, things like Zendesk integration, where we can integrate our knowledge base to kind of replace the clunky knowledge base that some people believe Zendesk provides. And also with SharePoint, with Microsoft Teams. So there is a lot of different integrations that make your knowledge base accessible and available to you in many different places.
Very good. Yeah, I noticed that the volume of integrations is quite extensive, so that is nice to say. Is Zapier one of the capabilities? Is there a Zapier integration, or I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
notice
sure.
there is.
Zapier webhooks, like there is an API that you can use to basically well to connect to our system and extend it in any way that you want.
Sure, no, I
Jira
got
integration, sure. So there's like a bunch of different integrations the platform
plenty of
offers.
integrations. Okay.
Yeah.
And for customers that are listening that may be saying to myself, how would this work within our organization? Do you have an example of a customer that's using the solution and maybe some examples of how it's enabled them to excel, over and above where they were at before using the Doxy solution?
Yeah, there is a bunch of these reference cases on our site, but I'll give you one example of a customer.
Sure.
They're in this web security space. Like before, they were using Doxy. They had a bunch of people just creating Word documents, PDFs, and they had no centralized way of managing or releasing of product docs. And
Right.
Doxy has kind of helped them automate that process. We have another customer who is in the manufacturing industry. They work with like electrical batteries, and before Doxy they had a bunch of again PDFs and a bunch of teams doing content. It was all manual. Now they're using Doxy, which speeds up their content creation workflow and process, and they're able to kind of uh, documentation for multiple product families. We have another also client in manufacturing that is using Doxy on assembly lines, so to share internal SOPs and documents between like the back office and the assembly line. And they're multilingual because the assembly line speaks Spanish, people speak English. So there is
Yeah.
multiple uses of this solution.
Great. No, that helps out a lot in terms of helping customers to understand different applications where they might use the solution. And as far as like analytics and feedback, the ability to understand how the solution is working within their organization, are there different metrics or reports that are available for customers?
Yeah, I mean, we provide you with a bunch of different stats to understand how people are using your internal and external knowledge base, what they're viewing, what they're searching for, and you can also embed your own analytics, such as Google Analytics for your external site, to kind of connect it all within your solution as well.
All right, that's great because I think a lot of companies that's important to them to be able to see measurably how the solution works. So that's very important. And as far as scaling, uh, how does the solution scale? As enterprises are pushing it out to more and more locations.
So there is a way to publish multiple secure documentation platform portals with Doxy. They can also be multilingual and they can be different versions of your product. So we have a customer that we are working with and we are trying to do exactly that and basically helping deliver documentation through multiple partners to their customers across multiple geographies, right? So Doxy has a notion of deployments, which basically lets you create a containerized instances of your knowledge base that are very specific. So let's say customer A can have version 1 with English language, and customer B can have version 2 with Spanish language, and customer C can have access to versions 1 and 3 in Spanish, French, and Japanese. So depend and they're all, and this is all managed through one kind of one interface, and it's the same content that's just being reused. So the platform offers you a lot of intricate systems to help manage that. Another enterprise use case is that we have a lot of tools built into Docsie to help with content reuse and automated content generation. So we have a customer who is using Docsie to basically automatically generate large number of user manuals at scale and then publish them, because they produce up to 1,000 hardware products per year. They release new versions of those products, and they have to maintain and update the documentation. So that's another one of those use cases that we help them meet.
Makes a lot of sense. Now, I know for enterprise clients, a lot of the security capabilities are very important. Can you talk a little bit about security and the different levels of uh, you know layers that you've built into the application to ensure companies that they have what they need?
Yeah, so obviously we're really serious about our compliance, our SOC 2 compliance, as well as currently working towards our GDPR compliance as well. And the platform offers a lot of security features such as SSO, single sign-on, again, secured portals that can also be connected to your Active Directory, and a lot of different capabilities to basically make sure that your knowledge is only shared with the people who need your knowledge, including smart chatbots that each of the chatbot can have a scope defined for them, which means that chatbot will only know the content that they're entitled to know, which is great for employee education. Because, for example, you can publish a chatbot that only knows a certain number of policies, but not all of your policies, and they can provide uh, in in time guidance to your employees only on the content that they have access to, and not to your entire knowledge base. As like you're familiar with things like SharePoint and other things, where the people, when you start to search for something, you try to find answers, it like searches for everything, and it becomes very difficult for people to find relevant information that they actually need.
Sure. So obviously, so it sounds like you have both, the scope as one area that the chatbots are locked down to, and obviously permissions as well. So, I would think both are important in terms of launching that type of tool with a enterprise solution. The other question I had is doing like product tours and things like that. Would that be a good use case for the solution?
Yeah, we have a no-code product tool builder that you can use to create product tours within Doxy. Then you can publish them as part of your in-app help interfaces to basically educate your users together with like, so basically it's a whole built-in experience. I wish I could do a demo, but I'm on my mobile phone. So
No, no, that's fine. I totally understand. The other question I had, and I think we're able to share with a lot of people the details. And the reality is, in today's day and age, podcasting, most people are listening to our podcast anyways. But as
right.
far as the trends we're seeing, a lot of companies or different organizations are looking to consolidate the volume of tools that they have, and obviously project management is an important aspect to to any organization. Are there project management capabilities built within the tool set?
Yeah, I think I spoke to it before. We have a number of intricate workflow systems built into Doxy where you can define multi-step workflows and identify like individual assignees for each of the steps, so people, so so for example, if your documentation release process goes from, let's say, somebody writes a draft, then somebody reviews the draft, then it goes to legal, they check it for compliance, then it goes to translation department, that they translate it, then somebody goes and reviews the translation, then it goes to legal again to kind of review the translations, and then it only gets published. We can simulate and model those workflows, so you can
Great.
know exactly where each and every step of your document, like of every change that you make to SOPs on your docs is, so you can release compliant knowledge that's been fact checked and proven and is ready to be released.
Great, because that's really obviously important to many customers. As far as customization options, what are the capabilities for a company to customize, or is it pretty much it is the way it is?
So in SaaS, the only thing you can customize are pretty much your like the way your knowledge base looks, right? And you can use whatever tools we provide you to kind of create some custom experiences. In terms of enterprise, we do a lot of different custom work for our enterprises and create modules on top of Docsie to kind of support their specific use cases, like for the examples I gave in manufacturing or the examples I did with the other multinational clients. Some of them require additional customization on our side, and we work with them. But eventually, most of those customizations make it back into the product as well.
Yeah, that's one of the questions I had for you. You know, how you decide which additional features and capabilities to add into the product, and it sounds like customer feedback is a big component to new releases and features.
Yes, exactly. So it's most of it is just the customer feedback, and most of it is just talking to customers and getting feedback from customers, which is the most important thing. That's how we build this product, based on customer feedback, really.
Sure. No, and it sounds like obviously it's a very well established you know solution in the market space. You're a veteran in the industry. They say a year on the internet is like a decade in any other industry. So absolutely. And as far as the adoption and growth of the solution, can you talk to what you're seeing there as far as
So
adoption?
yeah, look, like I said, we started with SMBs. Now we are looking more towards enterprise, but we are continuing to also build out a bunch of SMB features and a bunch of features that cater to like medium-sized businesses. So that's something that we are continuously trying to grow and improve. Obviously, we are focusing on getting our product out there to as many people as possible, and bring in more partners from different industries to help customize our solution to meet the needs of that industry. That's what
Got it.
we're.
So really some industry specific capabilities. Are, and that was my other question. Are there specific industries that you've seen adopt the solution the most, or is it pretty much across the board? It's obviously a very flexible platform.
So we have most of our customers are in software and actually in manufacturing. Surprisingly enough, we have a lot of customers that manufacture physical products. So it seems to be that that's one of the areas that we are kind of excelling in, as well as software companies, also some fintechs, medical, nonprofits. That's kind of been what and consulting companies. That's pretty much who we've been targeting, like, been serving so far.
Makes a lot of sense. And as far as, features that you've released lately that you're really proud of, are there any features you wanted to highlight that you've been working on for a while and have released?
Yeah, well, to start with AI chatbot, I mean, that we are really proud of it. It's a really great solution. So it's coming probably 1st of January to the public. We've been using it internally, and it's really good. It's a really good tool to help and accelerate user education.
Sure. No, it makes a lot of sense. And as far as, I don't know if these are things you can share with us or not, in terms of your roadmap, are there other solutions that you're working on integrating or other features that you're excited to introduce in the coming quarter?
Well, hopefully we'll be working a lot more on AGI, so artificial general intelligence, in the coming year. So that's going to be our focus for the next year, building out a lot of those AGI automations where the content is done for you. So that's kind of the focus, and that's what we're kind of trying to accomplish and achieve. So really
Makes a
excited
lot of
about that.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. What are you seeing as far as trends in the market space? Are you seeing any, if you were to break it down to a few trends that you're seeing that are happening?
Well, yeah, I mean, the trends is like the thing about it is that everybody went and jumped on the AI bandwagon. Everybody was screaming AI for a while. Now people are kind of getting used to ChatGPT. They understood the limitations of like different LLMs, and these LLMs are now getting integrated into all kinds of knowledge management solutions because it's a natural match. But aside from that, uh, there is a lot of space to just improve efficiencies around the way that knowledge is created and maintained. So the more you improve these efficiencies, either with AI or with just writing classical logic, the more customers you're gonna attract.
Makes sense. Are a lot of your customers on other platforms and moving over to Doxy, or is it a solution that companies are starting with their first take on this type of platform?
Well, typically, yeah. I mean, don't have anything, and they come and they use a platform like Doxy, and they basically pick up our solution and then they adopt it. Sometimes they're looking to switch from a provider if the provider is too expensive or they cost too much, and they're looking for alternative to that provider. Doxy is also a great option because of our cost effectiveness. We are generally cheaper than comparative competitors on this market, and our product is more flexible.
Sure, and obviously you make it sound so easy, but I can't imagine the complexity behind the scenes. Obviously, a company that's looking to do something like this on their own, it's quite a bit of tech built into
Well,
the.
yeah, it's like with billing, it's like with anything. Like, you don't want your development resources focused on something that's not your core product, right? So you don't want to focus on billing. You don't want to focus on like the knowledge base. You don't want to focus on building a support system because you can build everything, especially if you have resources. You can hire them. You can build anything. But the reality is, you need time and you need to focus on whatever you do best at your core business. So, like, don't let your developers convince you that you can get this free knowledge base. Just switch to something that's good, that you can utilize and is going to be with you and grow with you for a long time and meet all of your requirements instead of moving to something and then you having to switch over to something else or upgrade or, get another tool or get like 50 other tools because just get the proper tool. I mean, that's the lesson I learned. I was, you know, we build our own internal billing in Doxy, and it just took a lot of time and resources versus, just going to like a system that we could have just taken off the shelf and used. And I think that's kind of one of those things that just use
Yeah,
what's out there and like reap the benefits because it's not as simple as you may think, right?
and at the end of the day, obviously, with the volume of updates and releases that you've had on the product, you guys are always improving the technology. So that's exciting. I mean, I can tell you from my experience over the years, I would absolutely agree with you. My philosophy has always been, if we can do something better than someone else, we'll do it. But if someone else can do something better than us, we'll just pick the best solution and run with it because you're focused on running your business and to spend your time, like you said, doing something that's not your core competency just doesn't make a lot of sense. So my other question for companies that are considering getting started with Doxy, what are the different paths that they have in terms of, obviously I see you have different packages all the way from a free plan to an organization plan and a standard and premium and business plan in between. What is it that would differentiate the plans, and how would they decide what the right solution is?
So the biggest differentiators for the plans is like your organizational maturity, really. So like the basic plans, they cater towards on product companies who just need a product knowledge base. And as we go towards organization, we are dealing with businesses who have more complicated requirements, need maybe things like secure portals, enough help interfaces, chatbots, etc. So as your company evolves, the progression of how you share knowledge and how you educate your customers evolves with you, right? And like in general, I always tell to the customers, start with the free tier, build out as much as you can, and once you reach the limitations of that free tier, move on to the next plan, right? The way we've designed our plans, they'll help you naturally progress. Like we're not trying to force you to buy something that you don't need, and we are launching add-ons, so you should be able to add any other things that you need very easily inside of your application. And you don't need to upgrade to a bigger tier. You can just buy it as an add-on. So
So,
really,
so there's a lot of flexibility, and customers can
yeah.
move between the plans as they need. And as far as, is it licensed per user, per organization, per what? How does the licensing work?
So the licensing in Docsie works. Basically, you have a package. Your package includes a certain number of users. If you need to buy additional users, there is an add-on that you can use to buy those users, and yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. We have each of these packages has um, a certain number of users allocated to it.
Got it. Okay. And then for customers that are getting up and running, what does the support landscape look like in terms of, what are
Yeah.
the options that you have for support?
Well, I mean, I recommend that you book a demo, or like, get started with us. We'll help you with onboarding. Most of it is just us helping you out. Once you kind of sign the commercials with us, you'll get your own dedicated customer success manager that will work with you. We also have a premium support option that you can basically use to elicit like more faster responses from us, because we do get a lot of support requests every day. So we will prioritize your requests over other people's if you pay us the premium support. But aside from that, we have a in-app help and support system. Our in-app help has a ticketing system that you can use also, and we have it's a very rudimentary basic ticketing system to help get tickets from your customers and resolve them and provide this like in-time support for your users.
Okay. All right. And that's obviously important. And the final things that I was wondering, as far as customers that are on the fence and just getting started. So you're thinking the best way to get started is to do a demo, a free trial, learn about the solution. We'll obviously leave a link in the show notes so people can learn about that. But it it sounds like it's a very open option for companies without a lot of risk involved.
Yep, pretty much just get started. It's free, and we will help you get onboarded. We'll help you get started. We have great customer success and support teams that will work with you to make sure your knowledge base is up and running, that you're published, that you're live, and you're reaping the benefits of our product.
And once the solution is up and running, do companies really need a lot of support, from either end, or is it pretty much just
Uh, no, no, it's like once you're up and running, once you're done through the onboarding period, we almost never hear from our customers, except maybe it's a feature request or they want to improve things, so they block tickets and we help them address those. But the product is pretty intuitive, pretty self-explanatory, and it's very easy to use. So it's just something that everybody should be able to kind of grab and go.
Sure? Okay, sounds great. One last question for you, something I always like to ask, especially as a founder. Over the years, has there been a use case or two that you found was really something you had never envisioned, but you thought was very creative for the Doxy solution?
Well, I never thought that Docsie would be able to generate documentation at scale for manufacturing companies, but apparently we can do that. We can public, become a platform for printing, and basically from conception to print, an end-to-end lifecycle facilitator for that.
Very nice. Yeah, I know, in the printing industry, obviously you have all the way from the design stage to the, right before the product goes to press, you have that press check and a lot of steps in between. So that's a very good use case for the solution. So we will. Thank you for your time. And are there any other important details that we didn't cover that you think we would want to make sure we let people know about?
No, I think, Mike, we've covered pretty much everything. I really appreciate your time as well for getting on a call with me. I do have to jump on another call actually now, but I
Yeah, no
do
worries.
appreciate everything. This was a great conversation, and yeah, I mean, if your company or somebody is looking for a knowledge management solution, I highly recommend you check out Docsie. Book a demo, get on a trial, and just give the platform a try. It's a very simple and intuitive platform.
Wonderful, wonderful. And if you'll just stay with me on our next episode, we have Manoj Rana. He's the founder of Quarry, which is an experience management platform that helps businesses capture customer feedback across channels and close the loop through real-time analytics. Quarry serves over 6,000 brands globally and provides website surveys, session recordings, prototyping, and other tools to elevate product experiences. So, thank you for joining us on the podcast today.
Thank you, Michael. Hope you have a great weekend. Bye.